Hey there guys, welcome back to What Cheers. I'm Nick as always. Tonight we're going to take a look at a beer from Rhode Island's smallest brewery. So it's the smallest brewery in the smallest state. This is Crooked Current, and they are currently a nano brewery in Pawtucket, Rhode Island. And literally it is just one very small room. And if you guys haven't seen the pictures I posted from when I went to the brewery, I will link you to that in the description of this video, and it's pretty incredible. I mean, it is just one small room. And I went by there a couple weeks ago with my dad, and the owner, Nicole, and brewer, Nicole, was pouring, and we got to visit with her and talk about what she's been doing, and sort of her style of what she's going for with her beers. And it's really great. It's very creative, very different, thinking outside the box kind of beers, and this one is definitely one of them, and it's perfect for the season. So I figured, why not go ahead and review it, since it's a local brewery, and I definitely need to start reviewing more of the breweries in my own state, which I love. So we're going to start with this one here. This is going to be the Plunderdome Pumpkin Maple Ale. Plunderdome was the code name for the FBI's investigation into the corruption in the city of Providence, which Buddy Cianci was involved with, and many others back in the late 90s. So it's kind of perfect to have that name for a local brewery, and this beer kind of works. So yeah, it's the Pumpkin Maple Ale. And I don't know the ABV on this. I forget what she said. I think she said probably between 5 and 6%. But obviously it's got pumpkin, it's got maple, it's got some traditional pumpkin pie spices, and then it has, I know she said it includes vanilla beans as well. So that's very cool. And that's pretty much it, guys. This growler right now, it's about 2.5 weeks old. Which it should be totally fine. I've definitely had good experiences with growler, especially when it's not a hoppy beer. It's been kept in the fridge the entire time. So let's get it cracked open, guys. This is I'm not doing many pumpkin or Halloween, fall type beers this year, but I figured this is going to be a good one. I did taste it at the brewery and it was awesome, which is why I bought it. So let's get it cracked open, guys, and check out the Crooked Current Plunderdome Pumpkin Maple Ale. I love that combination. So let's get it cracked open. So I just took the electrical tape off, and then I remembered to turn the camera back on to pour it for you guys. So it's got a nice hiss there. As I'm pouring this, I guess I'll mention that they are currently just 1 year old. So they just had their 1 year anniversary, and still very small. And I've had this out of the fridge now for about 25 minutes, so it's got a nice chill to it, but it's definitely not freezing cold like it was in the fridge. So, alright guys, let's get a look at this bad boy. I haven't had too many fall beers this year. It's just been so busy with everything that I just haven't. I'm usually a huge pumpkin fan, which you may remember from my past on the YouTube channel here, but I haven't really done much fall beer reviewing or fall beer drinking this year. So anyways, guys, rambling on as usual. The head is dissipating quickly here. We had about a 2-finger head. Now it's a 1-finger head, dissipating fast. It looks like a pretty frothy, very like effervescent type head to it. Looks very spritzy, a little bit creamy, and medium-sized bubbles, pretty tightly packed. And this beer is really dark. I don't know if you guys can see that. You probably can. Holding it up to the light, it is super deep red, like deep reddish brown, I would say. Wow, it looks gorgeous holding it up to the light though. It looks like blood red, very Halloween looking type beer, to be honest with you. It looks blood red, like it's crazy. And it is pretty clear, like I can see through it. I can see a lot of carbonation streaming up, Lots of carbonation. So let's go ahead, guys. Wow, look at that. Away from the light, it literally looks black, or almost black, like the deepest, darkest red you could imagine. But yeah, let's go ahead and get an aroma on the pumpkin maple ale. Wow, this is still really cold, so we're gonna have to definitely take a break and let this warm up all the way later. But yeah, let's go ahead. Oh my God. Oh my God. It is maple, like, oh my God, it smells so freaking good. It smells like a yeah, it smells like a maple cinnamon sugar cookie or something like that. And pumpkin too, like pumpkin pie / cinnamon sugar. Oh my God, that smells so good. Yeah, like graham crackers, maple syrup, pumpkin, cinnamon. That smells freaking amazing. And I gotta tell you, that's one of the best smelling maple beers I can remember. That is amazing. Wow, guys. It's essentially a maple bomb. There's some vanilla too. I'm trying to think of what it's reminding me of, but wow, it's got vanilla, maple, pumpkin. That's just incredible, guys. Let's get a sip on this. I cannot wait. Cheers. Wow. That's just so perfect for this season. Just nailed the flavors. Absolutely nailed the flavors. It is so maple, so pumpkin, cinnamon sugar, graham cracker. Very, very spritzy. Maybe a little overcarbonated, to be honest. It's very spritzy, but it's very effervescent. I mean, this thing is light on the palate, very light on the palate, which makes it extremely drinkable. It's not like a very rich beer. It's a very light beer that is packed to the brim with flavor. I'm getting a lot of pumpkin, a lot of maple, a lot of those traditional pumpkin pie spices. I'm definitely picking up some vanilla bean as well, and almost a slight roasty chocolatey note as well. Up front, there's this really nice pop of just straight maple sweetness that is really nice. And again, the beer is very light, so it doesn't feel like it's heavy and like dessert-like. Midway through the palate, some more of those spices come in, traditional pumpkin pie spices, cinnamon, kind of nutmeg, clove kind of taste. And then that vanilla just finishes it off with almost a hint of a chocolatey note. And then it finishes really clean on the palate. I mean, this is like, yeah, it just finishes clean. I mean, there's no alcohol presence to this beer whatsoever. Not in the aroma, not in the flavor. And again, the aftertaste is just sort of clean. Like it leaves some residual flavors on your tongue from pretty much just the whole beer, but it's not overly sticky. Again, there's like really no alcohol to this. There's no real like hops to speak of in this beer, so you're not left with any sort of like drying out in the tongue or bitterness or anything like that. There's no bitterness whatsoever. It's a very, very interesting beer. One that not a lot of breweries that I've tried have done one that really tastes this good for just a straight up pumpkin ale for one thing, and then to add that maple in there, and all the spices really work too. One thing I noticed after a few sips is nothing is overpowering about this. Everything's really, really well balanced. I cannot get over how light the beer is on the palate. It's so effervescent. It's so spritzy, but it's so flavorful. Definitely as it's warming now a little bit, I'm getting a little bit more of that like chocolatey, malt kind of flavor in the back end, but it still is so freaking clean. I mean, this is like way too easy to drink. Even if it's 5-6%, it's way too easy to drink. This was their first beer they actually brewed, I believe. I could be wrong, but I believe this was the first beer that they put out when they opened a year ago. And they opened with a bang, because this is just amazing that it came from that room. Like literally just like one little room. Like it's just like a 1-barrel system. It's just like basically a homebrew setup, essentially. And so it's just really cool to see a brewery that small established and getting their feet under them and doing such really cool, interesting beers, which is what I spoke about with Nicole when I went in there and really got to know what she was into and what she was sort of striving for with the brewery in the future to come. Trying to do really interesting, creative beers that not everyone is doing, because the market is sort of cornered on a lot of these other styles, especially with hoppy beers. So anyways, before I go on another whole tangent about that, let me let this warm up for a few more minutes. Now that it's in the glass, it's going to warm up a lot faster, and I'll come back to you guys with my final thoughts and score on the pumpkin maple ale. But man, this is just so like appropriate right now. We're in the week leading up to Halloween, so this just couldn't be more appropriate. And I was a little bit apprehensive about reviewing it because I didn't get around to opening this for 2.5 weeks, which I don't know how the hell that happened. But my experience with growlers is if you keep them cold the entire time, and they're sealed properly and filled properly, you're gonna be fine. This tastes exactly like when I had it poured as a sample at the brewery. So yeah, anyways, obviously this held up perfectly as it should have. So props to Nicole over there filling it properly. So I'll be right back, guys, in a few minutes with my final thoughts and score on the pumpkin maple. All right, guys, so for the pumpkin maple ale from Crooked Current, this beer is really amazing. As it's warmed up, and I only have a little bit left here, as you can see, it's down to like pretty much cellar temp, a little bit cooler maybe. Yeah, the aroma on this is just, it's unreal. The best way to describe it is picture like a freshly baked pumpkin pie with like a cinnamon sugar, brown sugar kind of crust to it, with just like maple syrup drizzled on top of it. Like, it literally smells like that. It is so aromatic. It is so rich smelling. Yeah, it's just pumpkin pie with a cinnamon sugar crust and coated with maple syrup. Unfreaking real smelling. Let's get a taste, guys. Wow. Again, it's a super light beer on the palate, but is chock full of flavor. Pretty much everything you get in the aroma is a little bit better than the taste, but pretty much everything in the aroma you get in the taste as well. It's just the aroma is so like ridiculous. And I think that the only reason I'm saying it doesn't completely deliver on the flavor is because the flavors just aren't quite as rich because it's a light beer. If this was an 8 or 9%, Imperial Pumpkin, something like that, you know everything would be amped up. But just like with session ales, the aromas can be huge and big and have everything, and the taste is there, but the flavors just aren't super huge or rich because it's lower ABV beer. So this is still absolutely incredible. On the taste, you get pumpkin, you get the spices, you get a ton of maple. I mean, maple is pretty dominant in this beer, actually. But it's so good. Oh my God. Maple, pumpkin, traditional pumpkin pie spices. There's definitely that vanilla bean in there somewhere. In the back end, after you swallow in the finish, there's a slight kind of like chocolatey malt kind of flavor in the end, which is just awesome. It makes it a little bit more like a dessert, but it is not a rich beer to drink at all. It's a very easy beer to drink. It's just clean, it's flavorful, and it's just awesome, guys. I mean, I can't say enough about it. I pretty much downed this glass within 15 minutes, and I have a lot left, but yeah, it's just awesome stuff, guys. Congratulations to Crooked Current and Nicole. If you're watching this, you guys obviously are, doing great things and have a lot of great brews in the future ahead, I'm sure. So as far as the score on this, guys, it doesn't have enough ratings on Beer Advocate to have a number yet. And on Untappd right now, it has a 4.1 for whatever that's worth, if you guys are on Untappd. But, as far as a fall pumpkin beer, this is pretty up there for me. I just think the combination of pumpkin maple, I just haven't even seen that anywhere, and I have no idea why. That makes so much sense to have a pumpkin maple beer, and these guys are the first ones that I've seen do it, and do it really, really well, because everything in this beer is completely in balance with each other. Nothing is overpowering, and that's really important, especially with the spices, where people can get carried away with that. Not here. Everything's perfectly kept in check. It's just delicious. I think, honestly, for a score on this, I'm going to have to go 98, something like that. Man, it's got such a great aroma, too. Yeah, I'm going to go solid 98 on this. It's just so good. It really, the only things that I could say could be improved would be less carbonation. I was swirling it off camera, and it was just rebuilding ahead. It definitely, I think it's better, just less carbonated, where it's a little smoother and not so spritzy. It doesn't need to be, because it's super flavorful. And then maybe a little bit more mouthfeel to it, but I mean, for what it is, it's a low ABV pumpkin ale, and the flavors and aromas in this that are amazing, and so for what it is, it's absolutely incredible. I'm gonna go 98 on this one, guys. If you're in Rhode Island, you need to go visit Crooked Current. I know they were moving their brewery space towards the front of this building, which is actually an incredible old mill space that has been renovated into these artist studios. And that's very common in Rhode Island and Providence and Pawtucket, these very old mill spaces that have been converted now. So yeah, go check them out. They're in that mill space. You can look them up where they are, but they're going to be moving more towards the front, so they'll be a lot easier to find. You sort of had to go through this labyrinth of hallways to the back to find them before, but definitely check out Crooked Current if you're in Mass, Rhode Island, Connecticut. Go support them. They're doing really creative beers that are just not overdone. So you'll find something there that you may be interested in that other people haven't done before, like this. I know that they did a really amazing Hawaiian type porter, and she's doing a bunch of other things, like something with eggnog coming up for Thanksgiving. But yeah, anyways, eggnog milk stout, I think it was. But yeah, check out Crooked Current. Check out Gray Sale, Proclamation, Revival, anything Rhode Island. Check it out if you're local. Help support the local breweries that are struggling to keep up with the bigger guys and the more well-known guys. So that's what I'm going to try to do here, is try to do more reviews for these type breweries, and definitely review some other things from Crooked Current in the future. So if you, by chance, if you're watching this and you had this or can get your hands on it, I would love to know what you think of it. Hopefully you agree. I can't imagine you wouldn't, because it's pretty awesome. So anyways, it's a perfect beer for me to share with you guys for the season. Even if you can't get it, it's a local beer to me, and that's always cool to be able to share that with you. So remember, guys, like, comment, subscribe, and 98 for the Plunderdome Pumpkin Maple Ale from Crooked Current out of Pawtucket, Rhode Island. I'll see you in the next beer review. Cheers, and thanks, Nicole. Awesome stuff. Cheers.